Question: what is gospel transformation? Well, this should not be a new question to you. We've been looking at detail in that question this year, particularly in our Head, Heart, and Hands leadership development. And we have said up to this point that transformation is metamorphosis. That is actually, that's the metamorphosis is from the Greek that we translate transformed. And this process of metamorphosis biblically is an inside out process. Now, a common example that we see from nature that exemplifies metamorphosis and transformation, of course, is the life process of a butterfly. How does a butterfly begin? Well, take a look at this slide. We see an egg, which then changes, metamorphoses, or is transformed into a larva. You know, some larvae are pretty, but most are kind of icky, you know. and then it turns into a pupa or a chrysalis, and those things too, you don't really want to reach out and touch. But the ultimate phase of this metamorphosis is what? It comes out this beautiful butterfly. It has been transformed. And gospel transformation is simply helping God's people to become, the process of becoming like Jesus. It's church transformation. It's gospel transformation. And our UC vision, on our UC vision frame, right, is to give every English speaker an opportunity to not only know Jesus and worship Him, a place to worship Him, our beautiful UC campus, but also to follow Jesus together with us. So to do what? Become like Him, be transformed into Jesus's image. We say we're a disciple-making church, and disciple-making is simply this: a life on life, lifelong, all of life, relational process by which we follow Jesus together and become like Him. 1 John 2:6 says, anyone who claims to live in Him must walk as Jesus walked, and that word can be translated, live as Jesus lived. So we could also say a life on life, all of life, a lifelong process by which we walk as Jesus walked together, so to become like Him, to live as Jesus lived. Another example we have from nature of gospel transformation through Christ is a well-rooted tree. A vine, as you see here in this picture. And what we have here at the very base is the soil. And that is our identity, who we are. And then from the soil we see the roots, right? And that is our beliefs, what we believe is true or false. And then we see the trunk, which is our values, what we believe is good or bad. And finally, the fruit, the very visible, and that is our behavior, what we do. And so gospel transformation starts at the very bottom with the soil, our identity. And when we are Christians, our identity is 100% in Christ. More so than your identity in your blood family, who you were born into, the family you were born into, or your job, who you have become, or your role as pastor, or as physician, or as mom, or as wife. Our first and foremost identity is being in Christ. Question, as you're listening this morning, is your identity in Christ? Well, how do I know, Pastor? The answer to that is, do you bear His image? Are you becoming like Him? Jesus by nature was humble. Jesus by nature was credible or true. And Jesus by nature is generous. we at the Union Church have been engaged and have begun a new preaching series called Treasure. You know, where your treasure is, that is where your heart is as well. When our treasure is Christ and His kingdom, we become, among other things, generous. God is known as the generous giver, right? There's been no greater gift given than the very Son, the one and only Son of God. For God so loved the world that He gave His own one and only Son, that whoever would believe in Him should not perish but have everlasting life. Well, this Sunday we will open our Bibles and we will see, in response to God's generosity and Him being the generous giver, as we find our identity in Him and in Christ, who gave Himself up for us all, a generosity. Let me read for you 2 Corinthians 8, verse 7. 2 Corinthians 8, verse 7, and this is where we're going to be going Sunday morning. But just as you excel in everything, in faith and in speech, in knowledge, in complete earnestness, in your love for us, see that you also excel in this grace of giving, generosity. And you know, the generosity of the Union Church continues to grow and grow. We have more people than ever giving regularly at Union Church. And my heart really overflows with joy in the way that you have responded to the needs of Legiani and Livia. And I'm happy to tell you that through your generous giving and the generous giving of others, they have received the full gift that they need to enter into her new apartment. And Sunday morning, as we continue to talk about generosity, we're going to invite Legiani to come to the front and just share a testimony of God's faithfulness and generosity. And it's an opportunity, she's overwhelming with thankfulness to say thanks. So come Sunday as we continue in our generous series, our treasure series, and as we have an opportunity to pray over Legiani once again and Livia as they enter into their new home. Sunday morning, 10 a.m. And I want to remind you, all you teenagers, that we have our TMT, our Teens Mission Team, this Sunday, the fourth Sunday of the month. So come on out and join us. Stay connected to the vine. Stay rooted in Christ in a changed and ever-changing world.